Even when I look at the mannequins that they use to hang clothes, the mannequins are white. The dolls are white. It is actually now statistically proven that over 40% of African women bleach their skin. You see the manner in which our African women are wearing wigs, which are from Indian women and Caucasian women, just like some are short, some are tall, some are slim, some are fat. We must conquer ourselves. In Kiswahili, they say, jishinde ushinde, conquer yourself, that you may have self-esteem.
Your fucking skin and now you 3 different fucking colors.
Go, I always make you feel less than him. You ain't gonna feel no stress with him. You got way too much invest in him. You deserve better and that's not him. Covering bruises with makeup, you trying to keep it a secret. You wanna leave, but you don't even think it's gonna be that easy. Love ain't worth your life, I tell you that. Once you leave, don't go back. Look at you thinking you could live without him, now look at you living. Look at you doing way better and all out of your feelings. Your edges came back and your ass is getting a little bigger. Girl, for that little nigga, go.
And I'm addicted to bleaching my skin. The skin bleaching started when I was in the 10th grade. I went to a more predominantly white school, so being dark wasn't really popular. The darker you wore, the more mistreated you got. So I just started bleaching my skin to get lighter. I say on me, dark is ugly.
The word modern is one that I don't want to use. The word modern suggests that our cultures are not modern. What is happening is that in many African countries, particularly the elite, we tend to be attracted to things that are foreign, particularly Western culture. And you see these in the manner in which we dress. We see the manner in which our dark-skinned women are bleaching. It is actually now statistically proven that over 40% of African women bleach their skin. You see the manner in which our African women wear long artificial nails in order to look like Caucasians. You see the manner in which our African women wear eyelashes and eyebrows, which are thin to look like Caucasian. You see the manner in which our African women are wearing wigs, which are from Indian women and Caucasian women, or artificial and made after Caucasian and Asian women, so that we are abandoning our Negroid, God-given things. When we do that, it is because we have low self-esteem. As Carter G. Woodson once said in his book, Miseducation of the Negro, we have been so thoroughly miseducated that we must re-educate ourselves. We must conquer ourselves. In Kiswahili, they say, jishinde ushinde, conquer yourself, that you may have self-esteem. So one of the things that we must do is to embrace the manner in which we do our things. And that does not mean that we don't borrow from other cultures. All cultures do borrow, but you borrow in a manner that does not undermine the DNA of your culture. In Africa, we succumb so very easily. You know, when I drive across many African countries, even when I look at the mannequins that they use to hang clothes, the mannequins are white. The dolls are white, or brown, or pink. We are not modern, or we are not moving towards modernity. We are running away from ourselves. We must come back to ourselves. And when you come back to yourself, you'll be respected. Have you ever wondered why little European countries, when they go to another country, if they are the Swedes, they have a Swedish school. They have a Danish school. They have an American cultural center, an Italian cultural center, a French cultural center, a Russian cultural center, a Confucius center, because he or she who abandons his or her culture becomes slave of another culture. So let us never ever use the word modernity for what we do by running away from ourselves. You know, culture is to be celebrated. Culture is something that is to be appropriated and to be enjoyed. If you look at quite a number of communities in Africa, for example, you find, you go to the Yoruba, how they celebrate their dress. You go to the Ashanti, how they celebrate their dress. You go to the Igbo, how they celebrate their dress. But if you look at the Igbo dress, you'll find that there are elements that they took from the Turks. Nothing wrong with that. If you go to the Zulu, they celebrate, and they celebrate not only their food, their dress, the Basotho and the Swana. That is something that ought to be done and can be done. And I have no problem at all with cultural organizations being given their pride of place. And remember that since independence, in almost all African countries, there has always been a ministry called the Ministry of Culture, because we recognize the significance of culture. You know, when I hear people saying that intermarriage will solve tribalism, I laugh at it. That is a very simplistic way of dealing with a very key issue. Intermarriage, love between two individuals, defies ethnicity, defies race, defies cultures. That has happened throughout the ages. But those ages have also demonstrated that when people are mobilized along ethnic lines, then when the chips are down, wives have turned against husbands and vice versa. During the genocide against the Tutsi in Rwanda, husbands turned against their wives and they killed them. They killed their own children. So that is not the thing. What we must do is to change our minds and change our attitudes and say with Robert Mangaliso Sobukwe that there is only one race in the world, and that is the human race. And that the God whom we worship and serve only created us diversity, as indeed he has white birds and black birds. And as I've said at a different forum, and I repeat, it takes the black and white of a piano to create symphony. If we recognize that, then we would recognize that that is nature, that is divine. But to say simply marry and then ethnicity or tribalism ends, I'm one who is a proponent of cultural celebration. I want the Ovambo in Angola and the Ovimbundu to celebrate their culture. I want the Yoruba to celebrate their culture. I want the Baganda to celebrate their culture. I want the Agekoyo to celebrate their culture. I want the Bukusu to celebrate their culture, the Igbo to celebrate their culture. But after that is celebrated, when we come to the table of the things that need to be done, then their Igbo-ness must not stand in the way of doing things that we as human beings ought to do. We were miseducated. We must unlearn the bad things and we must re-educate our people. What are we teaching our young men and women? National exchange programs. We should have national exchange programs where people from different parts of the country visit others and they begin to understand others so that they are able to appreciate that we are all of one race, of one country, different. Just like some are short, some are tall, some are slim, some are fat. So some speak different languages, and you can learn those languages if you choose to. It can be done. Is it going to be easy? No. If it is easy, it's not worth doing. That is the lesson of history.